addict named Christopher. I'd like to thank my higher power, who I choose to call Jesus Christ, for allowing me this opportunity to get things right. You did it. And I wanted to stop in real fast while I was on my lunch break. And I just wanted to talk about and share my experience, strength, and hope real fast about what the program of Narcotics Anonymous has done for me. The program has taught me how to hone my abilities. Hone by definition meaning to either sharpen or to make something narrow or perfected. You know, the example that AI likes to give is the example of the swordsman sharpening his sword, either on the wheel, sharpening it, or with a rock straight, just grinding till it reaches a focal point. Honing. And I'd like to thank the program of NA for allowing me to hone my abilities. We have something in Narcotics Anonymous called SPAD, the SPAD of today. SPAD. The acronyms are the spiritual principle of the day. The SPAD, the spiritual principle of today. And the one for yesterday, June 1st, it touched on step 10 and us continuing to take a searching, fearless moral inventory. Writing down our character defects so that they can reveal themselves, so that we can then target them and sweep them out of our lives. But it really touched on something deeper for me, because in the reading, it talked about how, or it alluded to, how we are now able to take the character defects that we once used and depended on in our active addiction. We can now take those same defects, flip them around, and use them for the greater good in our active recovery. And I always thought that that was something so profound. The whole notion of what you meant for bad, God meant for good. The whole notion that God can take the unclean and still use it for His greater good. For instance, if you're, and I need to find a better example, but for instance, if you were argumentative in your active addiction, you can now take that argumentative spirit, join a debate team if you want, and use that same argumentative spirit instead to defend God, defend the program, defend the still sick and suffering addict, defend the NA literature. I mean, people like talking about how, and not to go too far off point, but people love talking about how the Bible has been rewritten. The white man is taking it and revamped it and to make it a tool of manipulation. Well, it's also a tool of purpose and goodwill and good orderly direction. Almost anything can be co-opted for better or worse. But as it relates to us in the program, our active addiction and our character defects, we can now harness and channel them towards a direction that's most likely to deliver the desired result. that makes any sense. So before I go, for me, I'm a huge bookworm. I love to read. And so when I came into the program and found out that we had literature to lean on, I instantly fell in love with the program after that. Instantly. And, November 2nd will be 6 years for me. No slips, no dips, no weekend trips. And life didn't, get better. I just got better. That's all. The superficiality of the world is coming together slowly, but this was an inside job. I had to work on me drastically, and still am. And still am. I was in Ezekiel in chapter 2. And God was sending Ezekiel out and telling him, I'm sending you amongst a stiff-necked people. And he was telling him, do not be afraid when they stir up their countenances toward you, because these are an antagonist people. An abating people. They'll bait you in with those facial expressions, with those mean mugging looks, just to get you to say something. And once you do that, then you have fallen into the snare of the enemy. So God was giving Ezekiel a warning, but I say that because even with all the work that I've been putting in on myself, I've been having to guard my split seconds, because this world out here, just because I'm working a program, it doesn't mean the world is, And they will, and Christ told you that I am sending you out as sheep amongst wolves. And so we have to guard our split second. Don't feed into the negatives of these people, because this is an abating people out here, an antagonist people who the enemy will love nothing more than to use to throw you off your square. But again, before I close, God has taken my defects, flipped them around, and have allowed me to use them to help buttress me and maintain me in my recovery. So I'm truly grateful. Truly grateful. So that's all I have to say. I'll probably come back with more literature backing it. I'm at work right now, so I don't have my book with me. But the next time I come on here, and if I talk about it again, I have my book and give you guys the reference pieces, strengthening, that utilization, that tool. So again, I'm an addict named Christopher. Thank you for allowing me to share.